Hey guys, Jack and Elijah, podcast number 5. You know what they say about podcast number 5? Well, I don't either. So let's head into it. We have a special guest today. I mean, every day we have a special guest, but today we have Schneur Samuels. Schneur Samuels is an up-and-coming artist, and he is very religious in Judaism. So we're gonna have a fun time talking to him today.
And for the fact of the day, and we're going to start that each fact starting today has to relate to the video, has to relate later in the video. So make sure to keep watching to know how this specific fact relates to the video. So the fact is, art used to be an Olympic event, which I did not know, just for the record.
Guys, we are trying to reach 100 subscribers so that when you type in social blackout, the first thing that come up is our YouTube channel instead of all these other stuff, and you have to scroll through it. So, yeah. Hey, Schneur, what's up?
Oh my gosh, guys, it's so great to be here.
So how have you been during this pandemic and like your family and everything? Has everything been all right?
It's all right. It's a bit boring, Nothing much happening.
How are your brothers?
My brothers, yeah, we're at it all day. It never stops. We hate each other.
Tell us a little bit about your family and your, interests.
They're actually all black. It's very.
This is not.
I should have said that. No, it's a joke. It's fun. It's kidding. Yeah. So no, they're good. It's just boring. There's nothing much happening. It's not very social. Live in the middle of nowhere. Don't have as much community. You guys live in West Hartford, so you have some community. There's not really much here.
How's Shabbos there?
Shabbos, it's lonely. Yeah.
So how many brothers do you have?
I have 6 brothers.
6 brothers. And they're all like 20s, right?
Well, it goes from 25 down to 11. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, any interests you have? I know you like art, so kind of tell us about how that came to be. Just we're good at it, and you decide, hey, let me just go into this.
Yeah, I just kind of enjoy art in general. I tried doing some animation when I was younger. That got boring because it takes too much effort. Yeah, I just started developing it by myself, kind of YouTube videos and stuff.
What YouTube videos do you do?
What YouTube videos did I do?
Yeah.
What do you mean, did I watch?
Oh, you're saying you like? Okay.
Yeah, I watched. I didn't make any.
All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, I mean, other hobbies you have, you also like comedy, obviously. You're a funny guy. Was that just something that you just picked up along the way and stuff?
It's probably a family thing.
Mm-hmm.
Was born into the genius minds of humor.
Huh.
Exactly. Cool.
So you went to our school up till 6th grade. See, at our school, it's very, I would say sheltered,
It's pretty garbage.
So how was the shift from Hebrew Academy to the yeshiva you are in currently?
It was hard because, usually you think like people who are religious are more secluded from the outside world. It's harder for them to, get you to the outside world. So, knowing about the outside world, it was kind of harder to get into the religious world.
You're saying like culture-wise, like
culture-wise,
stuff, and you couldn't relate to other people in your school.
Yeah,
you make a joke and like they wouldn't really get it,
Right. Yeah. After a while, I started getting used to it and stuff, but they just knew more about different subjects than me. Like they knew more about Judaism stuff than me because I didn't get that base education as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just had very different experience.
How's your academics, or what do you learn in your yeshiva?
Our yeshiva is completely Judaic studies. You probably probably don't have a very good opinion on that. Yeah, I mean, people play sports, people are active, stuff like that. Every Sunday we go to the JCC and we swim, play sports. Yeah, it's only Judaic studies.
So without the academic side of school, what job are you going to, what job do you want to go into?
I want to become an artist.
Do you know how to make money off of that?
No, that's why all artists are poor, but whatever.
I mean, you can become one of the great artists where you just like splatter, a little paint on a canvas.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that stuff. It's so horrible.
Yeah.
Splatter some paint on the canvas and you wear like a stupid hat. You're like this guy who's very strange and misunderstood. You're revolutionizing. So stupid.
So, like, basically, it went from Hebrew Academy being sheltered to going to Yeshiva and being more sheltered.
You're not really sheltered in Hebrew Academy.
Well,
you're in a Jewish environment, but
Okay.
It's flying in the world, right?
Not really.
Why don't you think you're?
I don't know. I mean, like, with
why do you think
respect
you're
to everyone else in society, I guess. Like, I mean, most kids our age are going to public school, obviously, but like
Society. You're talking about society. We're like, what, like 12? When you're in a public school, you don't see society either. You see your class.
Schneur, basically, I've
Second.
seen the Hebrew Academy kids, and they're like maturity level, I guess. And I've seen public school kids. The public school kids are much more, let's say, they act more, not mature, but they know things that grown-ups would know, much more than the Hebrew Academy kids. And I know that was the same for me when I was that age. Like, I kind of moved schools, and that's how I, learned like just more stuff about, how stuff works.
So you're saying you had more of an interest to learn about the world. You had more of a thirst for knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, it's more like I was exposed to more, and people who are more knowledgeable on the kids my age who are more knowledgeable on like pop culture,
So you think you learned a lot of pop culture? That's what happened?
I mean,
what do you learn? Who
Whatever,
are you put next to in a secular school as opposed to a Jewish school?
There's obviously the Judaics, which is just like you're learning Judaic subjects, and in public school you don't learn that. But like Jack's talking about not that stuff. He's talking about like sex and other things like that.
Okay, fine, right? But so you're saying that's what people learn about, right? That's what you're saying?
yeah,
You're
I'm saying
saying
like,
at 11 years old, it is extremely important to know everything about that
I'm
topic,
saying,
right?
but people at that age already know.
They knew, or like
They already know that's not a good thing. It's not necessary. I'm not saying it's not necessarily a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It comes to a certain age where you learn about it at that time.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone in yeshiva is a bunch of idiots, right?
No, but I mean, like they're not. I don't know. I don't go to yeshiva like you do, so I don't know.
How are the people in your school?
It's pretty broad.
Are there people who know about like sex and all that stuff? Yeah, and there's people who don't.
There are people who don't, yeah. But that's more based on their homes, I would say.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, can we switch subjects? Talk about recruitment of Judaism, also known as just like if you see someone who's not wearing tefillin in the morning or something. I understand that you sometimes go up to them and like ask if they want to put on tefillin or like stuff like, or just try to recruit like Jewish people doing mitzvot and stuff like that. Like, how did that come about? Like, I know it's like a Chabad thing, right?
Yeah. Other people are kind of opposed to it.
Yeah,
some people don't really care, but some people are kind of opposed to it.
Can you explain like what you do and any stories you've had doing it?
Yeah, I'm saying you just every Friday. You don't have to do it on Friday, but generally that's the time we're given. That's generally when people do it. So every Friday we go out and everyone has the route, So you'll go on the street and ask people, or you have offices that you come to each week, stores you come to each week, old age homes, and you'll read them something from the weekly parsha that week, or you'll put them on tefillin, or give them Shabbos candles. Yeah, that's the gist of it. Just trying to uplift people.
A lot of people accept it?
A lot of people do. A lot of people really appreciate it. That they're, even a lot of old people also do, because nobody really visits them and stuff. We give them the opportunity to give them something like an outlet, something to be doing.
Yeah.
I hate being at old age homes, so I don't do that. But
So what's I guess weirdest experience you've had doing that?
Weirdest. I've had very strange experiences. I don't know. A lot of it comes down to, like, you just don't expect a guy to be Jewish or something. Like, I have a guy that, like, I go to every week, and he's like really into Judaism and stuff, and we talk for like a half hour. We have a great time. I saw him on the street, and he just, like, this guy, he was like tattoos all over his body. He had dreadlocks, and I was just like, yeah, what the heck? So we went over to him. We asked him if he's Jewish. He's like, yeah. He showed us like a chai tattoo or something. Like, what in the world? And a lot of people like that, a lot of people who we just wouldn't expect.
Yeah. Well, it's a really nice thing to do and stuff. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think I did that in Israel also when I was at the Kotel a couple years ago.
Why'd you do it?
Just because we just saw people that were clearly Jewish, obviously in Israel, just maybe who just didn't have tefillin or didn't get a chance to put on tefillin that morning or something. So I just offered my tefillin and stuff. So they got to do the mitzvah.
Nice.
So talking about how there's a lot of people who don't look Jewish but are, the ultra Orthodox and the very not religious people, right? Those two populations are growing, and the Orthodox, the like modern Orthodox, they're shrinking, and either people are the ultra Orthodox are having a lot of kids, so they're growing. Then there's the and then other people just don't want to be Jew, don't want to be observant anymore, and there's a big, there's a big decrease in,
and people who want to be religious. You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because also a lot of people that are religious and they have like a big family and they have a lot of kids, sometimes those kids don't want to become religious, even though their father's a rabbi, their father's a whatever, or
Yeah,
like
of course.
they come from a religious family.
Yeah, of course. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Over the years, it's become more socially acceptable. Like, back in the old days, in Russia and stuff, most people didn't just become not religious. It was,
Well, that's because of the information flow nowadays, because you have the internet.
Right.
A lot
people
of
are
kids who don't like having to, not eat certain things and be very like limited. They see these people who are not Jewish and are, having.
They think they're free.
Yeah.
I think they have this freedom that, like Judaism offers something they think freedom, and it's such a great thing, and like, not necessarily is it such a great thing, right? It's very purposeless, and it can become something very gross and not something very desirable. Judaism gives you a path that you can grow, and it shows you like where you're supposed to go and a life purpose, and people sometimes mistaken that as very restricting and all these rules.
See, interesting thing I've learned recently, I don't know how recently, maybe like a couple months ago, maybe a year, the Amish, they the kids, right, after their childhood, maybe like when they're 18, 19, they have a year where they go to like the
They go into society, like real society.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
You
I
know?
don't agree with it.
You don't agree with it?
I don't.
Well, let me just explain it. So basically, if they want to take up that lifestyle, then they cannot go back to the Amish. But once they've experienced it and they decide, hey, I don't really like this, they go back to the Amish and, they've had that experience. So, Schneur, what do you think about that?
I really don't agree with it.
Why?
It's like saying like religion takes a break. Like religion isn't something, oh, we're doing it for fun. That's what our grandparents did. And if you want to try out something new, this is the way of thinking about it is this is your purpose in life. So actually taking your child and saying, all right, experience the world as if it's an equal experience. We have this experience and you can have that experience. The way that Judaism thinks of it is this is the way that life is supposed to be. And going out of that, not that we should shun people who go out of that, but it's not something we should build into our construct of our religion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the reason that the Amish do that, but at the same time, it's an interesting way to try and like narrow down the amount of people that actually care. Like if we did that for a year as Jews, as like religious Jews, for example, and the amount of people that would come back as opposed to the amount of people that wouldn't, it'd really show who really actually cares about the religion and who cares about being religious and who doesn't care and who can who just
Right.
wants to be in regular society with everyone else.
Well,
So I agree. I don't think it's the right thing because as Jews, we have a duty in life, but I also I think it's interesting. I don't really agree, but I think it's an interesting thing that the Amish do.
There's a pro and con to this. See, the pro would be that you get people who really want to be there. You really want to be Amish.
I don't think that's the way that Judaism would do that. It's not that they would say, okay, you don't care about Judaism, get out of here.
They try to like enlighten.
They give you an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
There is always a way to, if it's really true, then we can show you how it's true, right? You ask. That's why Judaism so into asking questions and things like that.
Yeah, like as opposed to the Amish and just sending them away, like as Jews, we would like teach them the reason and the meaning behind certain things so that they understand what they're doing and why it's important, and therefore they'll develop a further appreciation for it and then want to be more religious or more observant in a certain way.
So I think it's such a terrible thing when like Christians and things like that, like they think questions are like from the devil and it's just you not really wanting to be religious and things like that.
Yeah,
it really turns people off.
How are you gonna gain any information if you don't ask?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a big part of Judaism.
But the thing is, if you give people that experience of going out into civilization, to everyday life, they might either really like it or hate it. If they really like it, they're gonna stay, and if they don't like it, then at least it gives them that experience of saying,
Jack, let's be honest. Do you think squishing cottage cheese and putting straw, and no cell phone is really the way people are like, you know what, this world is terrible. I like doing that. Like, nobody likes that, especially young like young adults. Like, who the heck would want that?
I mean, yeah, I know what you mean, but at the same time, it's also like that's what we view it as. Like, it's like, what do you think people view it as when they just see us wearing these black box on our heads and have like wiring attached to our arms every day? Like, they probably think we're retarded.
Of course, because they don't have an understanding of what we're doing.
Exactly, but I think that it might be the same with us. Like, I think that if you grow up in a certain culture, you have a different view and a different appreciation for it as opposed to what others think. Like, I mean, I can speak for myself. I don't know about the Amish I don't know very much about the Amish, and like I've been to Amish country one time, and what I thought they were doing was like interesting. It was different than what I was used to, but like I understand that like if it's a culture that you grow up in, like it might not be something you want to leave for because of the people and your family, and also because of just I don't know their own beliefs or like I'm not even sure. So like it depends on how you're born into it.
It's not that you want to leave because you think that's the right thing. You don't want to leave because of societal pressure, right? You think I want to be with my family, right? So they put you out there and they say, "Oh, see, he doesn't want the outside world. No, he
Well,
just
I
wants to
mean,
be with
it
his
could be
family."
like that, or it could be that people actually like farming, or actually people actually like their culture or what their routine that they used to do every day ever since they were a kid, like stuff
Yeah,
like that.
because they're used to it. If you're in a religion and the only reason you're in that religion and you want to stay in that religion is because that's what you're used to and that's what your family does, okay, fine.
I
And
mean,
you see that's the problem with traditional Jews and things like that. Well, I light a menorah and I go to shul on Yom Kippur. It's very nice. It's very nice. To some degree, that's something you're supposed to be doing, but also there's no reason behind it. I'm not doing it for God. There's no, you know,
I mean, yeah, I
like
see that point of view also.
Reform people who say, who light menorah, right? But then they also say, why can't women put on tefillin? Women should put on tefillin. Well, the same people, you doofs, that said women shouldn't put on tefillin is the same people who said you should light a menorah, right?
I mean,
You can't like
What's your
cherry pick. You can't cherry pick what you want from the same people.
What's your view on that? On women putting on tefillin?
I think the rabbis instituted that they shouldn't, and there are things that women should do that men. I mean, I think women could put on tefillin. I don't think it's something that fulfills anything, right? It's not something we say women can't put on tefillin. Just it doesn't fulfill anything. I
I
can't
mean,
light Shabbos. I shouldn't light Shabbos candles because it doesn't fulfill anything, right?
it's like I mean, yeah, God created men and women for different purposes, and everyone has
Different.
different obligations.
And
Like,
women are more holy than men, and people don't realize that in the
yeah,
Jewish religion that women are more holy than men. We're not sexist, right? We believe
yeah.
women are
We also say
greater.
the bracha shalos on Isha every day about how we're blessing ourselves that we're not women. But I mean, I was reading a lot about that, and I had trouble with that bracha. It was like it's like why demote the other gender as a bracha, and then I realized it was talking about how like because men usually have more mitzvot and more obligations to do over the course of the year, you're
Right.
like blessing yourself. You're thanking God for being able to fulfill more mitzvot.
Right.
So like
Like
that was
God
it.
gave you the opportunity to do so many commandments for him.
No,
It's
yeah, I
privilege.
agree, but I mean like just that as an example, like certain people would view that as like being sexist, for example, but like I don't think it's written the proper way, like as of like modern literature today. But I think that the meaning behind it makes sense. Like, thank you for the obligation to do more mitzvot for you, Hashem. Like that makes sense as opposed to how it was worded as to Shalos on Isha. So like at that time, maybe that was the appropriate way of saying it. But like I don't know. But like I think that's a lot of that the sexist and all that stuff that comes from it might just be because people don't have an understanding as to like why women can't put on tefillin, why they can't do this, and why men can't do that, or like stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
if they
absolutely.
get to see the meaning behind it, they can understand more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people just jump to conclusions before they actually investigate. Like I wouldn't say, some religions if I think something's, wrong, I wouldn't just jump to conclusion about that it's wrong. You know,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
try to get an understanding first of what it is.
Yeah. Um, you want to just change to a different topic?
Yeah, sure. So Schneur, I know your view already. But what do you think about Shomer?
What do I think about Shomer?
Yeah, Shomer Negiah. Which, for people who don't know, it's basically you cannot you cannot touch the other gender, right? Or if you want to explain like more about it.
the basic idea is you take women and you stick them in cages and you make them your slaves, and they have to cook for you. That's the general.
Edited.
No, it's just the idea that you have to be more cautious and more, what's the word? Whatever. You have to be more cautious to, the genders should not really touch and mingle because, things can happen. What's your view on that, Jack? What do you think the problem with that ideology is?
Yes. So in this modern world, people should definitely have the social interaction between the other gender. You're just going to be extremely awkward. You're not going to know how to interact with them, right? So if you're in that world of going to yeshiva, you don't see a girl ever, it might be okay. But if you are having that interaction, you really need to I don't know, complete separation is definitely not. I don't support it at all. You need that social interaction.
Actually, the divorce rate of Orthodox Jews who go through the shidduch system, which is, the shidduch system is, right?
Yeah. If you want to explain it for the...
Yeah, in case people don't know. The shidduch system is where it's not a date. You don't just, bump into someone and decide you want to go out with them. You're set up with people and you go out with them. And it's more of a system of dating. There's a matchmaker and, you tell them who you want and they kind of pair you up and try to figure out who's suited for you. Yeah, and the divorce rate for people who go through the shidduch system is less than normal people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a statistic on that, or close to a statistic, like an estimate.
I don't have an estimate.
The divorce rate in society is over 50%.
It's a guess. Okay, it's not a a big statement, but that's what people say, but who knows, right? They could be lying. But it's just a more more healthy way of dating, right? Because you date for the purpose of you're not just dating because of desire. You're dating because of who the person is, right? Because you're going to get married to this person, so you have to date someone who you really like them. It's not just someone who, hey, whatever, they're very, I have desire for them.
But at the same time, there's people in society that would date for that same reason. That
not people who go through the shidduch system, where you're gonna get married to someone, and then a couple years down the line they're gonna be
No, but I mean not the shidduch system, like a regular, like the rest of the world and stuff, about how you meet someone and you like them for some reason, and that's someone you would want to be with. So that's why, some people don't date for that reason, but some people do. And I think that I support that. I think that's a healthy way, because if you're actually truly dating because of the fact that you like that person, then yeah.
Absolutely. But the Torah's premise is, and that's why there's so many laws, is that there's a base rule, and then you put fences around that rule, so people don't do the transgression. Yeah. And you keep them very far away from it.
I just found something, right? It said, I typed in a shidduch system. So it says, why is there a shidduch crisis? Causes and solutions. Several causes have been cited for the shidduch crisis, but it is most commonly attributed to the average age gap between Orthodox Jewish women and men which they are married.
I spaced out.
No, so
this is a reliable website, Chad?
Between what?
What website is this?
No, I just looked it up.
Exactly. So, do you know if it's reliable?
Yeah, my statistics can also work. Okay, Chad.
I'm not saying it's reliable. I'm just saying it's funny to see that.
Okay, it's funny.
So what if you don't want to be in that, state of not really picking who you, what if you like someone and you don't get matched up with them, right?
You don't get matched up with them. What is like? You can say. I mean, I guess you can say you like this person. You want to be matched up with them. There's also a way of there's a testing. So when you're in college, a Jewish college, they do a testing on you to see if you're compatible in a healthy way, like if your children are going to have any diseases or something like that. So that's also a benefit to that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So you call the number, you say, "Are we compatible?" and they'll say yes or no. That's it.
But
So
what
in
if you
that,
want the freedom to choose? Or you just,
what if you want the freedom to not do Judaism? What if you don't? What if you want the freedom to do whatever you want?
Wait, hold on. Don't, Schneur, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have the freedom to choose even during the shidduch system? Like once you're paired up with someone, it's not automatic. Like you go on a couple dates and you can say, "Oh, this is who I thought it would be, who this person was," or
Yeah,
you
of
could say,
course.
"No, this isn't who I thought it was. I don't want this person. I like this isn't for me," and you can go to someone else. So like in essence, you have a choice, but not in the same degree, right?
No, of course you can. It's not like you're very restricted. It's just a system to make sure that uh, you don't just go out there, date as many people as you want, whatever.
Mm.
Just a more straightforward system. You come, you get paired. It's not like you just get paired up with someone. You show up and there's, you say what type of person you want and things like that. I mean, I haven't really had a shidduch yet, so I don't know exactly what goes on.
do you know how many, shidduchs the average person goes through? Like it's like five people before they,
Some people, it's like first shidduch. They come to the first shidduch, first date. They say, okay, I know this person I want to marry.
So what
Some people it can go on for years. Really depends.
what could
Generally,
be
it's not. Generally, it's not that many.
what could be the different reasons for saying they're not compatible?
What do you mean, like healthy wise?
No, just generally. Like what if you really like someone and you tell the matchmaker and they say no, it's not compatible. What reasons can they give besides like
They wouldn't just tell you it's not compatible. You can go on a date with someone.
what?
They wouldn't just tell you it's not compatible. You're not compatible for this person. You can't go on a date with them. What do you mean? I think you have a
You're saying it's just for health.
warped understanding of the shidduch system.
The compatible thing, that's only because of like disease if you have children and stuff. Like that's the only reason.
Yeah, that's the only compatible thing.
So like no one's the compatible because your characteristics don't match her characteristics.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, if she doesn't want to date a type of person and you match that description, then I doubt.
doubt that goes well.
Yeah.
And how do you like give a description of yourself, or you have other people like send in a description of you, and then
I'm not exactly sure because I haven't had a shidduch yet, unfortunately. But yeah, I haven't really done it yet. I assume you just give a description of yourself. I'm not exactly sure. Not entirely sure.
Okay, so switching.
I'm sure it's not too complicated.
Switching gears. Do you see any major changes in yourself from when you were at Hebrew Academy to like Yeshiva now?
Any major changes in myself? Yeah, I think more. I mean, I like, I won't just do things, because I want to and stuff like that, I guess.
You're less impulsive.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you think that's because of like how you're getting older and you're becoming more mature, or do you think it has to do with Yeshiva or like both?
It's both. Yeah. Because Yeshiva gives you a structure, but as well you're just becoming more mature and things like that. But I could have grown up in a different direction and gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
No, just I have more of an appreciation for Judaism. I really didn't have any appreciation at all when I was even Hebrew Academy. I don't think they really give you any appreciation.
Back to talking about how great Hebrew Academy is. Shout out to all the teachers.
So I still disagree with the point you have on Shomer.
My point was that when you're a teenager, you can be very impulsive, and you're not going to be dating someone that you think, not necessarily going to be dating someone who you think you can have a lifelong relationship with. You're just dating someone who in the moment is very available.
Mm-hmm.
You can be,
but you need that freedom to choose in order to learn.
True, but I also think that
we should give babies guns because they need the freedom to choose so they can learn. No, because it's not healthy for them. It's not good for babies. Don't give babies guns. They will shoot people. They're stupid.
I don't think it's necessarily just because they're available. I think that sometimes on a rare occasion, sometimes it does happen that you get married to someone that you knew since high school or college or something like that for a long time. But I also think that
most of the attractions you have as a teenager are hormonal.
Yeah, but I don't think that just because they're hormonal and that someone's available or you want a girlfriend or something, I don't think that's a reason to have a girlfriend. That's not what I think. So I agree and disagree with both sides a bit. I think it's healthy to be exposed, but I don't think the reason to be exposed and have a girlfriend is just for the sake of being exposed.
And plus, I don't think it would be so awkward around girls. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like, in your society, Schneur, the interaction you have with girls is the same that girls have interaction with boys.
Right. So we're both not very accustomed to it, and we get used to it together. I don't think that's such a big deal.
Schneur, you're very funny, so it might be easier for you.
I'm also handsome.
You have to bring these on, Shay.
I have some good guns. I have some abs.
So
what are we talking about?
Back to my point. When you get older, let's say in your 20s or early 30s, right?
30s. Yeah.
Your hormones settle down and you'll actually start to like people. But if you had that experience already of dating, right? Not necessarily for marriage, you will be more comfortable with with the opposite gender.
I kind of agree.
But the problem is you become too comfortable.
No, right? But it's all different societies. Think about it. The Schneur society, it's going to be something where he's not exposed very much. Neither is the girl. He's not going to be going over and then going to New York City and being like, oh, I like this girl, and he's 19, so he's allowed to date her. That's not how it's going to work. It's going to be someone who's religious like he is and believes in the same things and stuff like that. So the amount that he's going to be exposed is the same for her. So I don't think it's as big of a deal for him.
Right.
Because his society and the way he lives is going to be the same way that the girl's going to be living also. So it's not like that. The excuse of being exposed and stuff doesn't really apply to people who are that religious and people that live in that environment like Schneur does.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion on that.
I agree with that.
If you did not grow up in this environment and you would have a different view.
Hard. That's so hard to ask.
What? Tell me. What's the question?
No. If you did not grow up in this environment and you didn't go to Yeshiva, okay, let's say you didn't go to Yeshiva, would you still have this outlook, do you think?
Of course not.
No?
Because my natural tendencies are to do very physical things and not to, that's just what people naturally are driven to. Most people, that's what they're naturally driven to. So without that structure of Yeshiva, without that structure of religion, that's just not what I would have gone to.
It's not necessarily your family. It's because of Yeshiva that taught you to.
Also, I'm saying the environment and religion in general.
Okay.
Giving you structure.
All right.
But Yeshiva's, it's not only Yeshiva, but that Yeshiva's bringing certain information and building him as a person. So even if yeshiva didn't exist now, he'd still have information and he'd still have a
Right.
structure that was built beforehand. Like he'd
And
still.
that's the main point to yeshiva. It's not only just to stick information in your head, which is mostly what schools do, right?
Yeah.
You just sit down, you learn information. It's about environment. It's about you as a person, even more so than just learning, right?
Yeah. So I have a question. You know how there's like a thing that people say that like 98% of the stuff you learn in high school you'll never use again. How is it in yeshiva?
The main point isn't that you use that information later. First of all, you're learning Gemara, Talmud, and things like that in order so you can be able to learn that in the future, which is a very useful skill as a religious Jew, because which is my next point, that you're learning for the purpose of this is God's Torah, right? This is God's word.
Learning for the ability to continue learning later.
That's
Also
the first.
teaching-
That's the first
teaching
point.
kids.
So you can learn by yourself without a teacher, and you
And
have the
also
ability
teaching
to
other
learn.
people. Teaching your kids.
Teaching other people as well,
Mhm.
and gaining information, of course. But as well, the main point is that you're sitting down and you're occupying yourself for as much time as possible in what God wants you to occupy yourself with.
Yeah, but also the information that you learn in Talmud and Gemara, you also sometimes it applies in life, like as a religious Jew. Like if you're learning Masechet Sukkah and it comes Sukkah time, then you might need to know certain information that you learn.
Get out of here.
I
Okay.
mean, I mean, I don't know. Like,
But I'm saying you don't have to learn Gemara to do that. There's a book called Shulchan Aruch. It's the Code of Jewish Law, and it tells you it very straight out, without all the arguments, without all the boring stuff, right?
just ask your rabbi. Like that's the real short answer.
Right. Just ask your rabbi; he'll tell you whatever. It's very simple. You can just do no work, right? But the point is that you're not just learning it to gain knowledge and information. The main point is that you're learning it because that's what God wants you to sit down and learn. And yeah.
Yeah. What's the
Any
next
more
one?
questions?
We have more questions, Elijah. We definitely
More
need
questions?
or expand.
What has the effect of yeshiva been for you during this pandemic? Like obviously you've been more virtual, you've been at home, but like have you still been like learning with your class and your rabbi and stuff?
Yeah, we have classes and things like that, but it's not the same because, like I explained, the main point of the yeshiva is for the environment, to build you as a person, and that just doesn't happen when you're at home. You know,
Uh-huh.
you're not in that environment. You're at home and you're looking at a screen, so it is much harder. It's not the same experience, and it's more boring, and it's more like you're ticking off a checklist instead of being with your friends and going through the experience.
Do you still have it over the summer?
I'm actually going back tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Reopening.
Yeah, reopening.
I think I'm done with questions.
I'm done. You guys are a waste of time.
Talk more about art.
Art. Why not art? Give me art.
Oh, what about the social blackout logo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys wanted. Well, you didn't want. I asked because I want to make money. But yeah, the logo, right? The logo, very exciting.
Yeah.
You build yourself as a brand.
Yeah.
So how much cash are we talking?
Like 10K.
So
Oh yeah,
what logo do you want, Elijah?
What logo do you guys want?
I feel like if we have like an SB, like a cool, like maybe like bubble letter kind of cool design with it.
So, can you like how good are you
Amazing. Whatever you're at, amazing.
He's good. He's really good.
I'm the best.
So you can draw us.
There's Da Vinci. There's like Van Gogh, and there's.
Are you good at drawing people?
Let me show you some stuff.
I'm
Van
thinking
Gogh.
like SB with like both of our faces like looking at each other. That
That's a thing. That's a thing, right? That counts.
Rabbi.
Right. My brother asked me to draw this. If you know my brother, this is probably more.
Which brother?
My brother Chaim.
Oh yeah. He is the one that has like that.
That's really good.
Yeah. Whatever. I got stuff. I can, for the most
Do you
part, I
think
can
you
draw
could?
pictures.
Like, if Jack's idea was to go, would you be able to draw like the SB and have like our faces?
What?
Would you be?
I can draw your faces, like a simple, simple line work and put an SB.
Uh-huh. That'd be awesome. Just to have like our logo built by or made by one of our featured guests. That'd be cool.
All right.
That'd be sick.
I think we should do the outro now.
Yeah,
Do the what?
the outro. So like we thank you for coming on and
Oh,
stuff.
the outro. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming to my podcast. It's been so great. I have these idiots here who won't shut their traps. And please come to our next podcast where I won't be here and there's no reason to watch it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, if we actually had that as our outro, that'd be amazing. I feel like that would be a good hit.
We are gonna have that. Wait, can you just say that one more time?
Oh my gosh.
It's better in the moment.
Why do I have to say that one more time?
Fine. All right. Thank you guys for coming. You heard it right here. Thank you, Schneur.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
Who's coming? There's no one coming. Nobody watches this guy. Thank all you myriads. Thanks, America, for coming.
Hit that like button.
We said that in intro, Jack.
Hit that like button. Subscribe. Join the family.
Outro as the actual outro. That would be amazing.
Can you just do an outro for us real quick?
No, he had the outro. That was a good outro.
What happened to the
I
outro?
interrupted him a bunch.
No, we did not. Not the first one.
You did the outro. It's fine.